Man, I'm puttering around just thinking to myself, and I couldn't help but think maybe it'd help somebody out there, but I'm just venting at this point. But, like I work with kids, and I like the work I do in the sense that it helps them feel like they're getting something done in their life, or they're making progress toward a goal, or they're learning something that they didn't before, and it feels like an achievement. I like that. It is rewarding, but at the end of the day, like, it doesn't feel super rewarding because, like, we're all lockstep and marching towards some sort of a thing, but we don't really all know what we're marching toward. Yeah, we strategize. Yeah, we plan. Yeah, we learn new things, right? In search of some form of perfection or getting better or reaching a goal. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not quite sure what we're all doing it for. And I know that might be too philosophical for some, but like once you've started thinking that way, like what the heck are you going to think about other than that? Like stop thinking that way. I understand people tell me to say one step at a time. One step at a time, just keep thinking. But one step at a time is how your years fly by. I'm 37 now, and I like where I'm at. I love my family. My family is everything to me. But what are we doing this for? I see people that are struggling like over and over again, struggling through a set of situations that life puts them in, but I can't help but question like why it's all connected to what we're doing. Like, for instance, like people that are going through immense diseases and disorders of the mind. I'm just wondering like how much of that is self-perpetrated, how much of that is coming from within our own system. And I'm not saying I have a suggestion for what system would work better. I have no idea. Because to be honest, I think everybody's tried anything under the sun, and all of it's some sort of a success failure combination. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to say that what we have going on isn't going to work. And I am aware that the fact that I'm in a certain demographic in America that I have a bit of a privilege to think of these ideas, because I know other people in situations in countries of sincerely deprived poverty. They would love to be in my position to be able to say this stuff in my kitchen while I'm cleaning on a day off, when they never get a day off of work because they're hard laboring away and they've never been educated, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, if you have the opportunity to get to where I'm at and beyond, on the wealth spectrum and the demographics that go up and up and up and up, like eventually you're going to run into the same problem, which is like, hey, what are we doing this for? What's the rush? What's the lockstep? What's the point of this? What's the point of conforming to this model of whatever the heck we're doing? And everybody just says, like seeking perfection or just, enjoying the journey. The journey to where? Like, once you start thinking that way, it's kind of weird because you can't not think that way. And I come from a weird situation because I was in the military, and I've seen how things tie together from the military perspective. And not that I've been in combat, thankfully, but I know people that have been, that have suffered from it personally and just mentally. And the military complex is strange because it gives you a perspective of how this thing ties together. For instance, like, there's no way you can live a lavish life without taking it from somewhere, something, somehow. And the military is kind of how you do it. And I'm not knocking the capitalist democratic system as we know it, because I don't have any solutions. I'm just saying, like, this isn't making any sense. And if you ever want to know what it's like for a veteran, I'm just going to let you know, like, they go into a system where there is a mission, and then there's people committed to this mission, committed to each other for the mission. You're part of something greater than yourself. Absolutely astounding how people will put their lives on the line for each other and dedicate enormous amounts of energy and time and physical well-being to the cause. And then they get there and they do that, and then they get out, and all of a sudden, poof, they realize nobody cares, because nobody does care, because nobody can care, because nobody knows what we're doing this for. And so these veterans get out and they're extremely discombobulated, like, what the heck is going on? And then they maybe try to seek out that feeling in other groups, and then they realize that groups are just groups. They're just groups grouping up as a cult in some way or another to try to put meaning onto this situation. And then they realize too, as people have told me in the past, that they've been on the teat of the government. In other words, they're being overpaid for work that they do, because they didn't know any better, and they're getting paid for work that they do that's overpaying on when you compare it to civilian side of things. So when they get out into the civilian world, they're not going to get paid the same. they're not valued the same. So not only is their mission like non-existent or not mattering to the world outside the military and who they were in their identity, but now they're not worth as much or anything to the outside world. They're disposable. They're not appreciated for what they thought they were being a part of and what they sacrificed for and what they saw people die for and what they killed people for. And then you have that side of it too. People that are tormented from what they did in the military under the guise of like doing the right thing for the country. You know, did they murder people? Now they have to deal with those haunted faces in their dreams for the rest of their life. Or did they see their friends murdered in the same situation? You know, or all of the above. So these veterans are completely confused. They don't know where to go. And they can't really like call up their friends and burden them with these thoughts, because if they do that, then those burdens are just going to be put on the shoulders of their brothers and sisters who they respect and honor. They don't want to burden anyone, you know? So they just sit there and like let it all like fester inside. And they try to make sense of it, you know? And I know people, and everybody kind of knows people that have committed suicide eventually because they don't know what else to do. Maybe a relationship broke up, which is almost inevitable from people that have been in the military, because there's a mindset of like what I just described, and now bam, doesn't matter. None of it really matters. Then you realize it's just you and mortality, or you and your family and mortality. And you try to make sense of it in your head. You're like, okay, it's just me and my family. This is beautiful. Like I'll go to the end of the world and back for my family. And that's beautiful and that's true. But you still can't shake that weird feeling, that existential feeling of like, hey, what is all of this for? You know, and then people, the older you get, like my age and then older, you start seeing people die of natural causes or not. And they did, you know, they did it right. They lived hard. They raged against the dark. And then they just died. They're gone. Like it never happened. It's weird. It's strange. And like it challenges your idea of like what matters. And nobody knows what matters. You know, love matters. Everybody knows that, but love doesn't pay your bills, right? So it's just a constant gut check of like what we're doing. What are we here for? And I don't know. I just sometimes vent to myself, and then I guess now to whoever gives a shit about listening, is because I can't be the only one who's thinking about this. To me, I look at the world like as a zoo. Yeah, it's kind of morbid or whatever, but everyone's doing terrible things to each other. But if you really think about it and you take a 10,000 foot perspective, we're all just kind of trapped in a zoo. Like, so when you see elephants with their foot chained to the floor, they start swaying and they start killing their elephant trainers because eventually they go insane, you know? And I don't see a huge difference between that and how humans are, because we're in a system or in several systems or in layered systems where at the end of the day, you got to do what you don't want to do repeatedly over and over again, and it just drains your soul. And then there's a lot of people who have personalities like mine that struggle. And then people that don't have personalities like mine, they're able to like kind of remove themselves from that and take pleasure in strategy and planning. But at the end of the day, they're still going to have to confront it too when they're all alone with their thoughts eventually, whether a sickness or a tragedy or something comes in their life. And what are they going to do? You're stuck with it. So this isn't a complaint about life. This isn't a complaint about, I know what's wrong with the world. Like, everyone knows what's wrong with the world. And I know how lucky I am. I know that there's a lot of people that would wish they had the time of day to sit here and bitch about shit. But I get it. I've seen it. I've actually worked nearby it. I've got friends and friends of friends who have much harder lives than me. But I don't know. I guess it's really what it is. I don't know what's going on. I know everybody claims to know. I know groups claim to know. But at the end of the day, it takes blind faith for a reason, you know, for whatever group you're a part of, whatever cult or religion you're a part of. And it takes blind faith for a reason. Because when you open your eyes and you look around, everything is so strange and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I'm trying to get comfortable with that. I'm trying to get comfortable with my inevitable mortality and the strangeness of how everything unfolds. And I do understand that there's an element of maybe spiritualism, because a lot of things line up at the perfect time and just kind of work sometimes. And I understand that there's ups and downs. I do get it. Like, sometimes you're riding high on the love that you feel from your family and friends, and then other times you dash to the bottom of the pits because you feel darkness all around you because of what's going on. But I just felt like venting. I just feel like maybe somebody cares about this. But if you don't, that's okay. I get it. Like, you don't have to. Your mind is already too full of stuff you have to do. But especially to my veteran brethren and sisters, like, I get it. I knew somebody that committed suicide, and everybody is third removed from at least somebody that committed suicide from the military, and I do get it. The one thing I would implore you, and I don't know why I'm saying this, but it seems important to say it, is like, don't give up on your actual, like, for lack of a better term, vision of yourself, your dream, or your passion. And please don't think of that in forms of capitalist meaning. I just think when you're trapped in a zoo like this, it's important to at least create. And right now I spend my weekends working on the job that I'm supposed to not work on during the weekends, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. So I don't have a lot of time to create, but I haven't given it up. And for those of you who know me, you know what I'm talking about. And those of you who don't know me, who cares? Just maybe creation, mimicking the creation around you, the world around you, the nature around you is important. And be nice to yourself, because everyone's confused. Don't replay your highlight reel of everything bad that you've ever done. As long as you're learning from it and moving forward, don't replay that. And again, if you're a veteran, just realize, like, of course you're confused. And if you're mad that somebody lied to you and got you to do things in the military that you regret, most likely they were under a spell as well of some type, where they just thought it was the right thing to do and they believed in it. Therefore, they were so compelling that they convinced you to do it too. I don't know. I don't know any more answers than that. I just wish you all the best. Please don't take this as a way of me expressing myself before I do something completely dark. I have a family to support, and I love them to the end of the earth and back, and there's nothing that can get between me and my family. And for those, who have people actively hurting them in their life, understand that they're all in a zoo, and the people that are hurting you are being hurt and therefore lashing out. Childishly and maliciously, yes, but they're still lashing out. So try to have some type of big picture on that as well. You don't have to forgive them, but just have big picture. I know whereof I speak, because I feel it all the time. I've had people try to hurt me, and they're good at it, but at the end of the day, they're hurting themselves too. I'm a little bit frustrated, so maybe this venting is something I wouldn't have done if I was in a better mood, but I have love for all, and I wish you all a beautiful day, and good luck on everything. And if you're close to me, feel free to reach out whenever. We're all busy, but I'll try to make time. All right, see you later.